Before you say a single word, before you even open your mouth, people have already formed an opinion about you. Not because they're judgmental, although that may be the case, or because they're trying to size you up, but it's just how human beings are wired. And the thing that's communicating for you before you ever speak, it's your body. It's the way you stand, the way you walk into a room, where your eyes go, how you take up space. All of that is sending a message, and most of us have never stopped to ask, what message am I actually sending? So, if you remember, part one of this series, we were talking about confidence and what confidence actually is. If you haven't watched that video yet, I'll link it in the description and at the end, and you can go back and watch it later. But the big idea was that confidence is trust. It's the belief that you can handle whatever comes your way. And it's built from the inside, rooted in your identity and in God's faithfulness. But here's something that's really interesting that I don't think it's talked about quite enough. The inside and the outside are not as separate as we think they are. You see, most people assume that it only goes one direction, that when you feel confident on the inside, that it'll show up on the outside. And yes, that's true, but research, and honestly, just some life experience, shows that it also works the other way around. The way you physically carry yourself actually sends and feeds back into how you feel on the inside. Your body language doesn't just reflect your confidence, but it can actually generate it, which is so cool. And when I started thinking about that through more of a Christian lens, it actually made a lot of sense to me because Scripture has always understood that the physical and the spiritual are deeply connected. The way that we present ourselves matters, and how we move through the world matters. 1 Corinthians 6:19 and 20 says, Do you not know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit? Therefore, honor God with your bodies. That's not just about what you put in your body, but it's also about how you carry it and how you present it, how you steward it. And I think that gives us a really solid, grounded reason to take this very seriously. So remember, before you say a single word, before you introduce yourself, before you shake someone's hand, before you smile, that beautiful smile that you have, your body has already spoken. And it said one of two things: I belong here, or I'm not sure I belong here. The question is, which one are you saying right now? Which one is speaking? Okay, so let's kind of get a little practical for a moment, shall we? What do you say? I want to walk through some very specific things that quietly communicate low confidence, because there's a lot of us that are doing these things without even realizing, myself included. And the first one is posture, specifically a collapsed posture, like your rounded shoulders, your head is slightly down, your chest kind of caves in. Now, I'm not saying this to make anyone feel bad. This is literally the default position for most people, especially if you spend any time at a desk or on your phone, right? But here's what this posture communicates to everyone around you, and honestly, to your own nervous system. It's small, that I'm small and I'm not a threat. Don't look at me. It's a posture of shrinking. And when you shrink physically, you start to shrink in other ways too. But the fix is simple, although not always easy, meaning it takes practice. Shoulders back, not and down, not up, right? Chest open, head level, not tilted down. Take up space that you're standing in. You were created to stand upright, right? There is actually something very profound in that, okay? The only creatures that naturally stand fully upright are human beings. So stand like it. The second one is eye contact. Or more specifically, the lack of it, right? And this one, it's kind of tricky because there's a spectrum here. Too little eye contact, like if I was talking over here to the side and just not really looking at you. It portrays insecurity, untrustworthiness, or that you're disengaged. But too much can be aggressive or intense. What if I stared like this the whole time to you? That would be very weird. You see, there's kind of this sweet spot that's comfortable, natural eye contact, holding someone's gaze when they're speaking, maintaining it when you speak, and breaking it naturally rather than just like darting away, right? Okay. Darting eyes, especially looking down when you break eye contact, is one of the quickest ways to undermine how confident you come across. Okay. If you're going to look away, maybe look to the side or look up, but don't look down. Looking down is kind of a submission signal, and your brain picks up on it too. And I've noticed just myself catching myself doing it as I'm talking. But anyway, the third one is how you take up space, or more accurately, how you don't take up space. Standing with your arms crossed, tight across your body, sitting on the edge of your chair, making yourself kind of smaller in a room full of people. These are signals to others and to yourself that you don't really feel like you belong there, right? Now, I want to be careful here because I'm not talking about being performative big or loud or taking over a room in some obnoxious way. Okay, please don't do that. I'm talking simply about being present. Occupy the space you're in with ease and never with apology, right? You are not created to shrink, not physically, not emotionally, not spiritually. And yet, so many of us walk through life making ourselves small. I'm guilty of it as well. Being as small as possible, hoping that nobody notices us or hoping that we don't take up too much room. When God literally designed you to stand upright, to take up space, to be present. So stop shrinking. You belong in that room. You do. Okay? So here's where this gets kind of interesting to me. And this is the part I think a lot of body language content kind of skips over. There's been a ton of research in the last decade or so about how posture and physical presence actually affect your hormones, your stress response, and even your confidence levels, right? And the basic finding is this. When you hold open, expansive postures, your body starts to react and shift physiologically. Your stress hormones, they decrease. Your sense of control increases. In other words, standing like a confident person can start to make you feel like one. Have you ever heard of doing a power pose before you do something scary or out of your comfort zone? Yeah, that's where that research comes from because it's a posture that makes you feel more confident. You know what? Let's do it. Everybody. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not teaching children's church anymore. But anyway, next time you feel uncomfortable, try the power pose. But here's where I want to pump the brakes a little because I don't want this to come across as a just fake it till you make it conversation. We talked about that in the last video. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that there is real physical feedback loop between how you carry yourself and how you feel about yourself. And that is an actual tool that you can use intentionally. Think about it this way. When you're excited about something, like genuinely excited, do you just sit there all slumped over with your head down? No, your body naturally responds to what's happening. Maybe you do a little dance or whatever. But think about it. The reverse is also true. When you're dreading something, when you're anxious, when you feel behind, you can make a physical choice that sends a different signal to your brain. You can choose to stand up straight, breathe deeply, to slow down, and to take up space. And over time, that starts to move the needle inside too. Psalm 3:3 says, "But you, O Lord, are a shield around me, my glory, and the one who lifts my head high." I love that image. God is the one who lifts your head high. Because here's the thing. Sometimes we need a reminder that the posture of confidence isn't just a technique. It can be an act of faith. Lifting your head when everything in you wants to just look down and be sad. Standing tall when life has been trying to knock you over, that is faith in action in a really tangible and physical way. There are seasons in life where lifting your head feels like the hardest thing you could possibly do, where everything in you just wants to look down, cave in, and make yourself small. And in those moments, choosing to stand up straight, choosing to lift your head, that is not just a body language, that is faith in action. That is saying, I don't know what's coming, but I am not going to collapse while I wait for it. Okay, here's how you actually start building this in your everyday life, okay? In your daily life, this is how you can do it. Because talking about it is one thing, but I want you to walk away with stuff that you can actually try and actually do. And the great thing is, these are very easy to do. Number one, the mirror check, okay? I know it sounds a little weird, but hear me out. Before you leave the house every day, take 10 seconds. That's all you need. Stand up straight, shoulders back, head level. Look yourselves in the eye in the mirror. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to have a whole affirmation routine, although you can add that if you want. That'll help. Yeah. Just take 10 seconds to physically reset before you walk out the door. It sounds so small, but it's not. I actually, I didn't put this in my notes, but I heard a story of, I don't know if it was a doctor. I'm going to have to look it up. But she says every day before she walks through a doorway, she takes and she presses her hands against the doorway and then moves her body forward. So it kind of like pushes her shoulders back naturally. And then she like puts her hands down and walks out that way because it like automatically puts her in that stand tall position. Great practice. Do the mirror test, do the doorway test, whatever it is. That's a great way to start your day. Number two, slow down your movements. Confident people move with intention. They don't dart around. They don't rush through a handshake. They don't talk so fast that you can barely follow. Slowing down, your walk, your gestures, your speech communicates that you're not nervous. And it feeds back to how you actually feel. When you slow down, your nervous system slows down and starts to calm down with you. Okay? Number three, watch where your phone goes. Now, this one's kind of crazy, but this is the one I think about a lot because I'm guilty. But when you're uncomfortable in a waiting room, at a social event, in any situation where you feel exposed, what's the first thing we do? Most of us, we grab our phones, right? It's become kind of a security blanket, and I totally get it because I'm guilty too. But what this physically does is it pulls your head down, pulls your shoulders forward, and closes you off to the room around you. So try going phone free in those moments, okay? Be present. Let yourself be a little uncomfortable. I'm talking to myself too. That discomfort is where confidence is actually built. 2 Timothy 1:7 says, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of sound mind." Power, love, and a sound mind. That is what you have access to. Not the shaky, darty-eyed, phone-grabbing version of yourself, but the full version, the one that God designed you to be. And sometimes accessing that version starts with something as simple as putting your phone down and lifting your head up. Look out in the room around you, right? Be comfortable being uncomfortable a little bit. Every time you're in an uncomfortable situation and the first thing you do is grab your phone, you're training yourself to avoid discomfort instead of building the capacity to handle it. And confidence is literally just the built-up evidence that you can handle discomfort. So every time you reach for that phone, when you don't actually need it, you're sending a deposit that you could have been making, okay? So what do you do instead? How you carry yourself is not a superficial thing, okay? It's not about vanity, although some people will see it that way. It is a communication tool to the people around you and to yourself. And the really good news is that unlike a lot of things that can affect your confidence, this is something you can change right now today. You can walk away from this video and make different physical choices to start to feel different. You can stand tall, make eye contact, slow down, take up the space that you're standing in. And look, I know for some of you, this feels harder than it sounds, okay? I can be rather introverted in certain situations. And maybe you've spent years making yourself small. Maybe something happened to you that made you want to just disappear into a room and become invisible. This is something you can start right now. Start with your posture, then work on your eyes, then focus on slowing down. Small things done consistently, that's how confidence gets built. You see, confidence shows up in your body before it shows up in your words. And the wild thing is, you can use your body to help build it in you. Stand up like someone who belongs in that room. Move like someone who's not in a hurry but is intentional. Look people in the eyes like someone who has nothing to hide. Do it when you don't feel like it yet, because that feeling, it follows the action. It always does. Don't forget, if you missed the first video in this confidence series, you can watch it here. Be sure to subscribe to follow along with the rest of the series. And remember that you are worthy, you are loved, and you are chosen. I hope you have a blessed week.